Hey y'all, it's Courtney Ortiz, and today we're throwing it back to an episode that every dance parent needs to hear: how to not be a stage mom. Being a dance parent comes with a lot: competition weekends, backstage chaos, big emotions, big expectations, and figuring out how to support your dancer without adding even more pressure. In this throwback episode from season 3, we're talking about the habits that help dance parents build trust, respect boundaries, and actually create a healthier competition experience for their kids. If you've ever wondered where support ends and stage mom behavior begins, this is the episode for you. So let's jump into season 3, episode 96, How to Not Be a Stage Mom. Hope you enjoy. Hey y'all, welcome to this week's episode of Making the Impact. I'm your host, Courtney Ortiz, and I am here with my co-host, Lesley Mealor.
Hey Courtney, how's it going today?
It's good. You know, I sound a little raspy today. I have a cold. I'm so sad about it.
Voice.
It is
you
not
have that
a
Phoebe
good day.
Buffet voice, you know, from Friends.
It's not a good day for podcasting for my voice, but I am here and I'm ready and I'm so excited to have this awesome conversation about how to not be a stage mom today. So it's going to be
It's
fun.
always a good day for podcasting. Maybe not for your voice, but We've got some awesome guests here today to talk about this topic. And I think it's going to be a very well listened to episode.
Oh, I 1,000% agree. So all the dance parents out there, I hope you're ready. I hope you're tuning in and listening because this one's for y'all. We've been doing a lot of different episodes this season that is specifically geared more towards our dance parents. And we kind of went in that direction because so many of, I would actually say the majority of our listeners on Making the Impact are actually the dance parents. So we wanted to make sure we were giving y'all some episodes too. So here we are today. Here's our next dance parent episode. And I can't wait to jump in with our special guests.
And if you are a listener of our podcast this season, you know about our Buy Me a Coffee deal that we've got going on new this season. If you love what we're doing here, offering free insight and advice and tips and tricks and everything here on Making the Impact, you have the option to buy us a coffee and donate to the show. By donating any amount, that money goes directly towards producing this podcast, bringing in amazing guests, making sure the production value is what you expect. And we just so appreciate your support. We have a few people that have recently donated, and we wanted to give them a quick shout out. This is kind of a unique one. It's from Molly Wobbles. Molly Wobbles offered coffees for Courtney, Colin, and Jennifer, the awesome judges at Diva Dance Hartford. It was a great event, and we had a blast.
Aww.
So I know Courtney actually was able to give the coffees to the judges.
Yes,
so, thank you, Molly Wobbles.
I sent the coffees. I sent them Starbucks gift cards for $5 each, and I hope that they had a Frappuccino from Molly Wobbles.
That's so cool. So, you can also do that. If you had a really great experience at an IDA affiliated event and you want to buy coffees for those judges, you can do so via Ko-fi, and Courtney will send them out their coffees. So thank you, Molly Wobbles. And we also want to shout out Cal Tav from Ko-fi. They say, thank you so much for your amazing podcast. I've been listening since the very beginning when my daughter was a mini, a little over 6. And now she listens with me in the car and loves all the great advice that you and your guests provide. We are big fans. Keep dancing.
Oh, I love that.
That is so cool. And how cool is it that we've been on the air, quote unquote, for almost 3 years, which means this little girl is 9.
Wow.
She's been a part of us since she was 6. So that's pretty cool. So
she's
thank you, Cal Tav.
Up with us. How cool.
Well, and hopefully all of our advice is, just shaping the person she'll become. So Thank you both for your donations. And if anybody wants to donate, that link is in the show notes.
All right, final thing that I cannot wait to share with you all before we meet our special guest for this episode. Making the Impact and Impact Dance Adjudicators are sponsoring physical awards at all IDA affiliated competitions this season. And we have our very first Making the Impact winner that we cannot wait to announce on the podcast. So one of the perks about winning this award, this is a Judge's Choice Award, and it is selected by your IDA judges at an event. It can go to a dance that is a solo through production, but it's that dance that the judges are still thinking about by the very end of the weekend. And we have our very first winner who registered their award, and we cannot wait to give them a shout out live on the air. This is from Just Dance Invitational in Phoenix, Arizona. And the dancer's name is Ashlyn McCormick with her solo My New Philosophy. And her studio is Desert West Dance Academy in Goodyear, Arizona. So congrats, Ashlyn, for winning our very first Making the Impact Award. We hope you enjoy it and hope you loved the shout out on our pod. All right, everybody, it is time to meet our special guests for this episode. And like I said, we are talking all about how to not be a stage mom. So we have two different perspectives on this episode, two brand new guests that I can't wait for you to meet. And first up, I want to introduce the dance mom on that side of the table for this episode. This is someone who I'm just getting to know now, but I've gotten to know through our podcast because her daughter is actually on our cover art this season for season 3. So she was one of the winners of our cover art contest. And she also participated in our IDA virtual competition last year and won first place in our teen division. I'm super excited to welcome Summer Aiello to the podcast. Welcome, Summer.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm super stoked to be here.
Yes, and I also want to mention to everyone that you actually sent in this episode request as well and suggested this idea for a episode. And Lesley and I were like, ooh, what a good one. Let's put that in season 3. I love it.
That's awesome. I am so happy that you guys saw like the benefit of this. I think it is important to kind of talk about. I'm around a bunch of dance moms every day, and it's fun when people not in the dance world, when I tell them what my daughter does, like that she does competitive dance, they go, oh, it's like Dance Moms. You know, that's all they have to compare it to.
That's their reference. Yeah.
Right.
And I go, yeah, it is exactly like that. No.
We're all the worst.
I was like, no, it's not like that at all. I mean, some aspects can be, but not if you let it, you know?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, so I'm excited to hear what you have to bring to this conversation as a dance mom yourself. And if you wouldn't mind telling all of our listeners out there a little bit more about you, where you're based, if you want to give a shout out to your daughter's studio and more about you. Tell us all about Summer.
Oh, cool. Okay. Well, I live in Claremont, Florida, which is just like 20 miles away from Orlando. And I work at Universal Orlando. I've been there for 24 years. When I graduated from college, I was going to move to New York, and I already had like a place and a roommate. And then I got a summer job at Universal at Nickelodeon hosting a show. And I met my husband there, and I never left. So I've performed regionally up and down the Southeast at different theaters. I have worked at Disney, did the Hoop-Dee-Doo Review there for many years. So I am a professional singer, dancer, actor, no longer a dancer anymore. Those days are gone. But I was a competitive dancer in the early 90s when it was just starting to take off, when there was only like Showstoppers, Star Systems, DMA, and Tremaine. Like that was it. There were just a few, Star Power, I think, or maybe Showbiz, but there were just like 4 or 5. And there was only first, second, and third. That was it.
Love
you
it.
Went there. Yeah, you went and you competed against everyone your age. And then there was first, second, and third, and that was it. And then everybody clapped and cheered you on and said, great job. Home. And then you got in your car and went home. It was like,
the good old days.
Yeah. My daughter dances at Claremont Academy of Dance, which is located in downtown Claremont. For being a smaller town, we have a lot of dance studios and a lot of competitive dance studios and good ones too. We are kind of a smaller team, but the instruction my daughter gets there is excellent. And so, you know, and we have a great relationship with the studio owner, and, you know, it's just a great place. So yeah. So, and being a professional performer, actor, former dancer, it has added an interesting layer to my daughter and I's dance mom dancer relationship.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Can't wait to hear all about that.
Yeah.
Does Paige know that you're doing this podcast?
Yeah, she does. We listen to it a lot in the car, going back and forth to dance and things like that. And I told her that I was doing that today, and she was like, oh my God. She like rolled her eyes. She was like,
yes.
Oh my God. And then she goes, please don't tell anybody that you did this. I was like, no, I'm going to post it like on Facebook
Telling
and
everybody.
The link, yeah.
The
She's
whole
13.
world will know.
Yeah. Because she already like, it's so weird, but like my husband he's kind of a bigger guy at Universal. Like he creates like Halloween Horror Nights, etc.
Nice.
He's a creative there. So like when we're out and about, people recognize him and then sometimes recognize me from the show I do there. And she's like, oh, she's rolling her eyes.
Why
She's
are
like,
y'all
ugh.
famous?
Right. Well, like small town famous, you know what I mean? And so that now she's like, oh, now you're going to be on a podcast. Well, she's not interested.
I always like
I think
to
we had
ask.
another parent guest actually that said the same thing. I can't remember who it was.
I think
but
it was
they were like,
Marlo.
yes. It was Marlo. She was like, yeah, she's going to hate this.
Yeah, that's why I like to ask, because we've had a handful of dance moms now on the podcast. And I'm like, does your dancer know you're doing this? Do they approve of this?
Now, conversely, her friends will be like, yeah, Miss Summer. Like, they're going to think it's so cool.
Yeah.
She's not a fan of me, but her friends are. So.
All right.
That's always how it is. That'll
That's
reverse.
teenagers.
Not reverse, but she'll come on to the brighter side later.
I hope so.
P.S. Paige, we love you, and I'm a big fan of you, Paige. So shout out to Paige. Thanks for letting your mom join us on the podcast today.
Aw, she's going to love that.
All right. And our next special guest is a brand new guest to our podcast. This guest is going to bring the studio owner perspective of this conversation that I can't wait to hear. And a big fan of our podcast, also very close with Lesley. I'm excited to welcome Shannon Thomas to the pod. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited. I love this podcast. I've been following you guys, obviously, for years, since day one. So I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah, we're so pumped to have you. And I know you and Lesley went to college together. Hey.
Yes, we were doubles all the time.
All the time.
One really great memory is when we were both snowmen.
Oh, yes. That was my freshman year.
Yes, and they carried us out in a little ball, and they stacked us up, and then we came to life.
Wow.
It was magical.
Yeah. And you know what?
Yeah.
Sometimes you will eventually get paid to do things like that, dancers. So
yes.
Listen.
You know what? It was very stressful being inside that thing.
It was so stressful because you had to build yourself. Like they were just stacking the balls, but like we had to Velcro stuff in the dark.
It was a hard job, okay?
60 seconds.
Yes. And we had a cue, we had to pop out. And if you didn't hit the music, it was not right. It was frosty. It was the moment. It was magic for the children.
And it was our responsibility.
Anyway, it was. Like, I really felt that. Like, they really put that pressure on us.
It was a lot of pressure.
But, it was. But anyway, so yeah, I'm so excited to be here. Lesley, I'm just so proud of all of her accomplishments. And Courtney, it's so great to finally get to talk with you and meet you in at least computer land.
Yeah.
But so yeah, after college, I did a little bit of dancing, but I decided to settle down and focus more on my teaching and my choreography. I also met my husband, Shane, so he's a lighting designer. And at the time, he was kind of transitioning out of that career into more tech career. So then after I started teaching, I opened my dance studio in 2015. It was kind of one of those things I wanted to do for a really long time. Unfortunately, my brother had passed away suddenly, my twin brother. And it was one of those things where life just hits you and you think, well, what's my next step? What can I make of this horrible tragedy? How can I move forward from this, you know? So we decided to open the studio, and it's called the Legacy Dance Studio in his honor. And that's something that I'm trying to work to build through my studio. And it's kind of how Summer was talking about the Legacy Dance Studio. We're a smaller studio. We have one room. At first, I was the primary teacher. It was a lot. And we've grown. We started at a high school dance room. We've grown from 50 dancers to up to 200 dancers now. And we have a strong recreational program. I do an invitation-only competitive program, which has grown from 5 to now 30. So that's a big deal for us. We're still small. We're not a big team. We focus a lot on small groups and solos and duos. And I like keeping it a little bit smaller because there's a lot of studios as well in our tiny little town that are a little bit bigger than us and what I would consider more just larger scale studios. They have, multiple rooms. They have a lot more teachers. So we're a little bit smaller, and it works for us. And we have grown the program, and I'm pretty happy with how it's going. So we're just kind of trying to maintain it and getting through the pandemic. And I'm just grateful that we're still going. And now it's become, I have some of my former students are teaching. So the legacy is like actually happening. So I'm like so excited. We're in year 7. So yeah, so I've got kids teaching with me. I've got kids dancing at SeaWorld and working on choreography and growing their dance careers. So I'm just really excited for them. And yeah, so owning the dance studio has been my dream, and I absolutely love it. It's my life, basically. So yeah.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
Love it. Well, thank you both, Shannon and Summer, for joining us on this episode. Let's talk about stage moms, y'all.
Yay! Well, this is going to be fun. I'm so excited to have both of you and your unique perspectives. And Summer, your very unique perspective in that you did competitively dance growing up. You are still in the performing arts industry. So you just have a very interesting, I'm so excited to hear your take on everything, being also a performer and sort of knowing firsthand what your kid is going through, what they're going to go through if they choose to keep, pursuing this life. But I guess because I would love to hear, Summer, a little bit about your growing up as a competitive dancer and how was your mom?
So
let's go all the way back.
Whoa.
Well, I am the only person in my family that is like, hey, look at me. I was, you know what I mean? Even as a little girl, I was, I would stand in front of the mirror and I'd watch myself, like I would cry and then and is highly a lot of drama.
Yeah.
And then, my mom put me like in rec dance, you know what I mean? Let's put this kid in dance. And immediately, like, the teacher came to her and she was like, oh, Summer is the one that we tell everybody else to watch. We kind of put her out and a little bit in front. She remembers the dance. You know what I mean? And then I would take my recital costumes and I would, we had a trampoline and I would like put on a full show on the trampoline in my costume. I would pass out programs.
Yes, I love it.
I did a full routine to the whole A side of Michael Jackson's Thriller album. It was like, so my mom just sort of rolled with it. My mom is she is an introvert. She's a banker, she just sort of rolled with it. And then when I started dancing, and then it became like, we want to go do these competitions. We think Summer would do well. She has that it factor. Let's take her. And my mom would just go, okay, and she just, and I can remember specifically there was one day where I was throwing like I was 15. I was doing a lyrical number to Michael Bolton's Walk Away.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you were. So good. Can I please see that video?
Oh, girl, I got to. It's on VHS. I have so many of them on VHS that I have to convert.
Yes.
And she was like brushing my hair, and I like ripped the hairbrush out of her hand. I distinctly remember this, and I was like, stop. I was like, and she goes, and she just like set it. She set the pins down, and she goes, then you can do it. And she turned around and she walked out and went out in the audience. And I was back in the dressing room like, oh my God, what did I do? And that really stuck with me, that moment. So I competed. We did Star Systems. We did DMA. I loved doing DMA. That was where they brought Gregory Hines in to tap with us, and he signed my tap shoes.
Wow.
So, oh my gosh.
That's awesome.
And it's funny. It's like, I have them in this place in the closet. They're like in a box and they're wrapped in like a velvet cloth. And so then I take them out and I presented them to Paige one day. I was like, Gregory Hines looked in my eyes and signed these tap shoes. And she's like, that's cool, I guess. Like, she doesn't quite get it, what this legend was. But I guess, if somebody that she was into did the same thing, she would understand.
Right.
She's 13. Who knows?
Right.
So that's like my background. My mom was pretty chill,
Cool.
Interesting.
I love that.
Yeah.
And so Shannon, you competed, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We did a little bit of group competing all through Central Florida. We did Florida Dance Masters. We did Dance Olympus. I believe
yeah.
even Joe Rowan was my teacher at
Oh,
that.
wow.
I'm sure she was.
We did DMI with Frank Hatchett. I have some pictures
Cool.
of him,
Yes.
which was like my favorite. I think I got called on stage to demonstrate, and I thought I was just like something. I was so excited. I thought I won the lottery. It was the best thing that ever happened to me.
Yeah.
Well, and listen,
and
listeners,
yeah.
I just have to point out, Shannon is one of the best dancers that I know.
Yeah.
So, like, the
Oh,
fact that she got pulled
alright.
up, like, yeah, Shannon was all, I mean, Shannon's a couple years older than me,
Oh,
so
thank
I
you.
always looked up to her in college, and yeah.
Aw, I
So
love
it doesn't
that.
surprise me that you were called up to assist.
Well, I was super proud of that moment, but thank you so much.
course.
I feel so like such a different now that I have such a teacher choreographer role.
Yeah.
It's like that Shannon's of the past.
Right.
You know?
Right. She's back there.
Yeah, which is fine. I mean, she's awesome. She's
Yeah.
doing great back there.
Yeah, she was great.
But now it's so different. Like I just have such a different mindset of where my focus is, obviously, because I'm, now I'm like trying to get my kids there,
Right.
instead of me, which is probably, I probably should try to do more dancing, but it's hard in class. I'm like, I'm walking around
Right.
fixing things
Right.
and correcting and helping, and I can't dance with them. I don't have time for that.
Don't have time for that. Ugh.
I am busy on the floor fixing feet and all that. But yeah, so my mom was awesome with competing. Like, she would bring the food. She was always with the food.
Nice.
She made sure I had the food. She was always there. She would just be in the audience cheering me on. And, whatever I had placed or whatever I got, if I didn't get anything, she would just be like, good job, just keep going. And I think there was a whole 2 years I got nothing. I mean, it was rough times. But I just kept going. And I didn't really, I just remember thinking, oh, I'm going to just keep trying. I can do it. And eventually I did really good, and I would get those placements, and it was great. But at that point, like, I didn't even care by that time. It was more just like, I loved it anyway. I just want to be on stage. I want to perform. I want to get corrections. I want to get better. And so for me, I always looked at it that way, and that's how I try to train my team in my studio. But it's hard, though, because you're going to have parents, you're going to have kids that are very competitive. It's competition. That's what it is. So, it's just finding that balance between your passion and your love, and then having that competitive edge, because you have to still have both. You can't just be like, I love it, it doesn't matter. Well, because it does. I mean, you're trying to compete and win a competition, of course. Like, it's the ultimate goal.
It's the ultimate goal.
Yeah.
Well, Summer, I'm curious. So now that you're a dance mom and your daughter is competitive and is 13, so she's kind of in that, like, I can see, just knowing your story about your mom and the hairbrush, I'm like, oh, has that happened to you yet? How did that feel?
Yeah. Well, Paige is a lot more high strung than I ever was. And I personally think it is the result of how competitions are now. Like
Sure.
Shannon said, back when we competed, I know I'm much older than all of you guys, but back when I competed, there was first, second, and third, and that was it. You got an adjudicated score, but that was it. And there was so much pressure not to place. Do you know what I mean? Because unless you were like this incredible dancer, you weren't going to place.
And you knew that.
And
Like,
you knew it.
knew that
You
walking
knew it.
in the door.
Yeah. I mean,
Everybody knew it.
I placed a lot, but it was always a shock. Like, it was a literal shock. And back in the day, there were no turns in second. There was a clean double, if anything. If you did an aerial, you should be hired for cats immediately. Like, it was like, you know what I mean? It was just, the mindset was so different. It was like ballet technique and performance, but it's nothing like it is now. And so I think those expectations put on dancers now so young has lent itself to a more high-strung competitive dancer. And I think because we have several girls in our studio around Paige's age that are incredible, and Paige is constantly in her head going, these girls are my biggest competition, which I try all the time to say, the last time you danced is your biggest competition. Like, but they don't, she's 13.
Mm-hmm.
So we have definitely had those hairbrush moments 100%. And Paige has sensory processing disorder. It's gotten a lot better, but it really reached a head when she was about 9 or 10. She could not have anything touching her skin. So imagine like sequins or lace on a costume, or even like fishnet tights. It was like we would have to carve out an extra hour after doing hair and makeup to just get her into the costume. So it was a struggle. And now she's done therapy. She's had occupational therapy. They do that, like brushing on their skin and stuff, sort of. And she's much better now. Also, too, she's more mature. So she can look at it and go, I've got this on for 2.5 minutes. I'm good. I can do this. But we've definitely had those moments where I've said, you know what? I've definitely taken her and I've given her to her choreographer or her teacher. And I've gone, it's time for you. I have to get out of here.
Goodbye.
Yeah. And I think that is the sign too of a healthier stage mom, that they can find that line. They know before it spills over. I've definitely had moments where I am not proud of how I behaved, but you learn from that, right? Hopefully you do, Yeah. So yeah.
Shannon, have you experienced any, I love, Summer, you just used the term like a sign of a healthy stage mom. What are some signs of a healthy stage mom that you've experienced? Like the best parents in your studio that you just are like, man, this lady is just doing the thing. She doesn't cause me any problems. Her kid is so happy because they have a good working relationship. Like, what are those qualities that you're really looking for in a stage mom, a good stage mom?
Well, I think it boils down to a couple different things. Most parents have no dance experience. So I think that is something that's hard because you're coming in to this whole entire world that you know nothing about. And your kid now is competing. There are these rehearsals. There's all these kids everywhere. There's people everywhere. There's all this pressure all of a sudden. And I think that the best qualities of a parent is the willingness just to learn about it. The willingness just to take a look. Oh, here's the rules. Here's the competition rules. Let me take a look at everything. Let's prepare ourselves. Oh, here's the expectation. Here's the call time. Here's when I'm supposed to be here. Here's my checklist for all of my costumes, all of my tights. I'm very clear specifically for my team. We have a special app we use, so everything's updated. I connect with everybody. We have a whole schedule. So I like the moms to share that with the kids, especially the younger ones, because they need mom. Like, I can't expect my 8-year-old to not need mom, at least for like a moment in time. You know what I mean? So if that means, when I was first open, I think I made the mistake of letting the mom in there a little too much because sometimes that pressure stresses them a little, So I've kind of made the rule now to where moms know no parents in the dressing room. Now, if you need to come, get them set up their little rack so they can change, all their little bags they have. Yeah, all their little bags. So come get them set up and then off you go enjoy it in the audience. If I need you, I will let you know, I promise. I've got my phone right here. If anything happened, don't worry, I will immediately get you. So that's helped, I think, because sometimes they just need coach. They just need a minute. They need to stretch. We need to just focus on what we're doing. We need to just do our pliés. We need to do some tendus. That's what's going to relax them. They know that. They know their pliés. They know their stretches. So instead of fussing over them, that's kind of what I try to bring the focus toward. So, my parents that let that happen are the best. And I generally have amazing parents, amazing experience with my dance parents, past and present. And so some other qualities, like things like, say a kid forgot their tights, just figure it out for me. It's okay. I don't want to know that you don't have your tights.
Right.
If you have Susie's tights on, I don't care. You have the tights. Yeah. I'm good. Or if your hairpiece, don't bring your hairpiece to me right now. Go find somebody to put your hairpiece in. Just go.
Like
or
aspect,
things like, like where's the big girl? The big girls are there to help you. Right. Go grab one and they'll get your hairpiece in. But the moms that are good at just noticing, maybe there's a kid who's alone in the corner, send him over to the group. Or maybe there's a mom upset, get him away from whatever that kind of stuff. Being nice to the competition directors. Generally being just pleasant and grateful for the experience. And, those are the qualities that I think our team has. We actually just got the show
The special studio award.
Like
thing,
sportsmanship.
Sportsmanship.
Yeah, we got
award.
that
Thank
too
you.
just recently.
Did you really?
Yeah.
But we just got it this weekend. And it's funny. I think it's our third year in a row getting this one.
Yeah, it's a great achievement.
But we actually, one season, we were undefeated with them every single competition. It was crazy. I didn't know why. I mean, I was just trying to be a nice person. I don't know.
Right.
But I think people get hectic. And the parents, I see studios with parents backstage a lot. And like I said, I learned from that in my first 2 years, but I think it does distract.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that, but what can you do? Every studio owner is going to have their own rules, but I think it just shows respect to what they're doing, the job of the people putting on the competition. There's enough chaos. And I want the parents to enjoy the performances.
I think it should be a rule for the competition to not allow parents backstage.
Yeah.
Unless it's a prop dad or something.
But also safety. Who could just anybody's going to be just walking around
right.
back
It should
there?
be teachers and dancers only.
Right. And because we have to check in who's there with us. I usually tell them, who my teachers are with me. So what if some weird person is just walking around?
Yep.
So I think, it's a matter of, and if you don't trust what's going on, you have to trust us that we'll take care of the kids and make sure they're safe. But yeah, I think that being a good dance parent too also takes experience. My first year parents, I always notice it's harder for them. And I try to give them grace because, listen, we're all human beings. I'm not perfect. No one is perfect. So we're going to make mistakes. And for me, it's more communication. I would rather you come to me, let me know what's going on. If you're unhappy or upset about something, I really want to be that mediator to help solve the problem. I mean, that's the only way I can help people if they choose to make that decision to come to me. And sometimes they don't, and I can't make them, but I can't help them. So that's what's hard, I think, being a studio owner is wearing so many hats. And the competitive side of it for me is a whole separate job.
Right.
So I own my studio, and then I also have my team. So I ask a lot of my parents, but it's more, they have to sign this contract. I mean, they have big rules that they have to follow, and I have had to remove people if they don't follow them.
Yeah, overstepping
and I'm
boundaries
very
and stuff.
Just boundaries,
not calling the competition company directly, or
yes, or things like behaving in the audience, working on your etiquette in the theater, being respectful of each other's awards at competition.
Yes.
We've had a hard time with that lately, but but everybody does, And so I think that other rules I have is, say you want to do an outside workshop or an outside competition. I like to know what that is. It's my studio. I want to know where my kids are training, not because I don't trust that it's going to help them, but there's some things maybe I wouldn't put them in that direction. Maybe there's another direction I think would be better for that child. So I do have rules like they can perform with their school teams, but it has to not interfere. Right. Maybe there's one interference. We can work together. I'm fine with that. But I need to know ahead of time. I want them to be able to participate in school things and have fun and also enjoy their high school teams with still being able to compete at my dance studio. So I have a pretty good relationship in that sense. But yeah, I think it's also the rules I had. What else was it? I had one where we had students getting evaluated behind my back because they were unhappy about X amount of things. So I had to reach out and just say, hey, what's going on? Are you unhappy? And that kind of turned into a new rule.
Wait,
you know what I mean?
I'm confused. You mean students were getting evaluated by a parent?
No, by my competitors.
Oh.
They went to another studio to
just
see where they would be placed.
So the dance moms didn't tell you that they were taking their kids. So how did you find out about that?
Oh,
another person told me, another friend, and they heard about it because I have actually our studio is really small, but I have a lot of friends.
It's a small
so someone
dance
just reached out and told me, and it was a hard. I was like, what do you mean? What's going on? I was so confused because I've never even thought anything like that,
Yeah.
And so I just reached out and talked to them, and I had to make a new rule because I felt like if you're having those kind of thoughts, you're uncomfortable, then you need to come talk to me about it. And also, I need people on my team that are 100% on my team, because that's not fair to the people that are fully committed, and we're trying to work together towards something. So I really need everyone to have a full 100% commitment. So that was my biggest concern is well, I can't have people uncommitted. That's not fair. So then I had to make a new rule about that in our handbook. And then I also have like behavioral contracts and things like that. So there'll be team consequences, or I've had, pulled events. I actually had my younger group in ballet class. They were having some just disruptive behavior a couple weeks in a row. So we took away a performance. Things like that. Like, so I have set rules because over the years, I've had to create them, because otherwise I feel like there's not enough structure for them to understand this is a big commitment for you. So having that commitment, you have to follow this, and this rule. But also, I can't stop them.
Yeah. Either. But there are consequences.
I just like for them.
People need to know that there are consequences. I like
for them to follow it. Exactly. And it's all said and done, then, you have to believe in those rules too. We all have to. We all have to work on them together as a team, parents, kids, and myself. Even me. I have to hold myself accountable as well. As the leader, as the team leader of the coach, which is hard too. It's very hard.
Well, you mentioned something though, like I think one part about being a very like a healthy stage mom, dance mom, etc., is communication with the studio owner.
100%.
There is a lot of that shadiness going behind the studio owner's back when they're not happy. So for me, if I'm not happy, I'm going to go to my studio owner and I'm going to say, this is X. Can we talk about this?
Oh, totally. Totally.
I think more dance parents should do that. I think a lot of dance parents, like, they will hold kind of resentment maybe and be like, well, this is not, or they'll assume that something will never change or whatever. So then they do things, maybe not in the correct way. And then what sort of example are you setting for your kids? That's what I'm, you know what I mean?
100%.
That's what I think about.
I think it's important for dance parents they have to trust the teachers. They have to trust them. I think there's so much.
And that's what I ultimately said. I said, you have to trust me. I was like, that's all I can say. It's okay if you don't. Like, I can't do anything more for you to do that. But that's all it came down to. I'm the kind of studio owner and teacher. Like, I love my dancers. I want what's best for them. But if they're not happy at my studio, that's okay. I mean, it makes me sad. But I want you to be happy. I want you to keep dancing. So, making these types of moves is just, you just need to come to the studio owner. I've had others come and say, hey, listen, we're going to move forward. We're going to audition for this ballet direction, this and that. And I'm like, great, go for it. Like, I'm so proud of them. I have one who's doing amazing now as an apprentice, And so it's like, I want these kids the best for them. And I think parents do too. Like, we both do. So it's like the communication bridge. It's just that little gap of like, I'm okay with you telling me that you're not happy about something because I want to get better too. I want to be a better teacher. I want to be a better studio owner.
Another thing that you mentioned, Shannon, that you talked on briefly, and it goes hand in hand with the communication, is the, going to other workshops outside of the studio, which obviously we're like, as teachers, we're excited that your dancer wants to dance more than they already are. But it is important for a parent to understand there is still a chain of command that you have to follow. And just because it might say that parents can register, you are not the professional. This might look like glitz and glam amazingness. You see it on social media. Oh my gosh. You don't know who's running that event. You don't know if they have a good reputation. You don't know if these teachers are qualified. Like, you're not the professional. So if you want to create these opportunities for your dancers, which is great, and we're excited that you do, you still have to present that to your studio and say, listen, I'm interested in this. What do you think? Should my dancer go here? And your teacher will guide you in the right direction. You shouldn't overstep your boundary just because it's your child and you're the dance mom. The chain of command is huge. It's just
respecting.
Totally.
It's just respecting the studio owner as a professional in this industry, as someone who understands dance, someone who looks at your child and says, I know exactly where they should be. Right. It's respect. It is respect for that person.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yep. Totally agree. Dancers, parents, teachers, studio owners, if you've been looking for a way to get real, detailed feedback on your routines from trusted professionals, you've got to check out our service, IDA's Online Judges Critiques. Our critiques are done by industry pros, judges who are pre-screened through Impact Dance adjudicators, many with over 10 years of experience on competition judging panels across the country. And the best part? You can actually request a genre-specific judge, so the feedback that you get is tailored exactly to your style of dance. You'll receive your critique within 5 business days, guaranteed. Or if you're in a rush, IDA is the only service in the industry offering 24-hour rush delivery. And new to all my choreographers, we're so excited to introduce our choreography consult critiques. This version focuses completely on your choreography, not the dancer's performance. Your IDA judge will dive deep into your concept, transitions, costuming, style, formations, textures, musicality, and overall vision, giving you specific, actionable feedback to help your artistry grow as a choreographer. Critiques start at just $35, and trust me, they're worth every penny. Head to impactdanceadjudicators.com/online critiques or click the link in our show notes to submit your video today and see just why IDA continues to set the standard for professional feedback in the dance industry. We're truly making the impact. Prep for the upcoming competition season today with IDA's Online Judges Critiques.
That was number one on my list, was the qualities that are most supportive and helpful was trust and respect. And that goes both ways. It's a partnership. You know, some of these dancers that I've been working with since they're 3 years old and 16, that's a long time. And, I'm not just, at this point, it's not just dance. I mean, we're like close.
Right, it's like family.
I've seen them grow from little itty bitties to these beautiful young ladies. And it's also, but having that, it also makes it hard because you have to have boundaries as a business owner, as a studio owner. Just the boundaries, simple boundaries of, okay, today is my day off, or I'm taking this time on Thanksgiving break, or things like that.
Well, and I was going to actually ask you, Shannon, and then Summer, I would like to know what your studio does in terms of this, because you hear so many times, and my mom included, people trying to text message you at 10 o'clock at night and expect an answer, and people trying to email you or Facebook message you about something, like the channels of communication. Because I think everybody is so, Courtney will answer a text message and literally anywhere at any time for anybody. Like, Courtney's always available, but you should probably create some more boundaries in terms of communication. But do you?
I know, I'm working on it.
Shannon, do you have what are the things that you do not allow in terms of communication? Like, are you a don't text me, only email me kind of person?
I mean, they can text, email me, message me anytime. I just may or may not respond to it.
Right.
Sometimes I'm just relaxing and I'll have a minute.
Right.
Other times I may be in bed, but generally I'll try to text and respond to things during the day.
Right.
Business hours. But say we get home from competition and dance mom texts me a cute picture and I'm chatting with her for 2 minutes. That's fine. And I think sometimes though, people literally will text me at 11 o'clock, not because they're trying to be disrespectful, but I really think they just will forget.
It's 11.
They don't even realize what time it is.
Yes.
And they're like,
don't even realize it.
100.
So I'll generally but my phone's set up to a do not disturb hours.
Right.
Yeah.
So it works for me. And people know, I'm pretty good about I'll get right back to them the next morning.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't bother me.
Mm-hmm.
I'll respond either way. I mean, whatever way works. I mean, honestly, but I always try to remember, they are my clients. It is a business and I want to be good customer service for them. So that's something I think about too,
So for me at my studio, another little interesting layer is the studio owner is actually a person I worked with at Universal. We did a show together. When Paige started going to the studio, it was owned by somebody else. She actually took over the studio and purchased it about 6 years ago. So it's interesting because she and I are friends. We're friends outside of the studio. We have to, it's weird because in the interest of not acting like she's playing favorites, I feel like she's been a little tougher on Paige. Does that make sense? But not in a bad way. Not a bad way at all. And then I have to sometimes remember like during the day, she and we will text as friends, but we don't talk really a lot about anything dance. The only time I really talk to her about anything dance is during dance studio hours. Does that make sense? When I know she's at the studio.
Right. That's
so
where
then
her mind is.
Right. So then I can say, hey, by the way, did you charge my card for X? Or hey, by the way, will you take a look at this and whatever? So it is something I have to be cognizant about to not put her in a bad position. Does that make sense? Because I love her dearly as a friend and I respect her greatly as a studio owner, you know? So I would never want to put her in a position where other parents are like, well, Paige gets this or whatever. But it's not so much like that anymore. Everybody knows whatever Paige gets, she earns on her own merit. So yeah, but I just try to make sure that line is there because I do know a lot of parents. I'm not saying anybody at our studio specifically, but just in general, a lot of dance parents do not believe the studio owners should be friends with dance moms outside of the studio. I've seen threads about it on Facebook boards.
Yeah.
So I try to be cognizant of that.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And that makes sense. I mean, to like you said, try to keep the boundaries as clear as possible. Because, dance moms are hardcore about favoritism. You know, like any inkling of favoritism, people are over the moon.
Well, it's hard, though, because, you end up getting closer with certain people. Maybe you just
with certain people,
talk more, you see them more, or you just click more, or whatever it is. So, I try to make an effort as far as that goes with trying to spend time talking with a lot of them. At dance competitions, I'll make sure I'm just kind of visiting with different parents and spending time maybe sitting with this parent, or most of the time I'll end up being alone because I always run from backstage to see it from the front, and then I run backstage. Right. But I have my Nikes on. I'm like, I gotta go. But for me, there's definitely boundaries. But honestly, I don't really spend a lot of personal time with anyone from my dance studio. It's mainly just focused around dance.
Yeah.
But it works. Like, we're all very close and we enjoy our time together at competitions. And, sometimes we'll do events together or charity things for the kids dancing, or when we do our local Nutcracker together. And so we all really enjoy that time. But honestly, my personal downtime, I spend mostly with just my family and my husband, and which isn't really a lot of time.
Right, there's very minimal time. So
something that I want to mention as far as that, like favoritism or things like that, I feel like that we all know these people and we all have either been in that position of power running a business or being on the other side of it where you feel like you might have to like schmooze and kiss somebody's booty a little bit to get what you want, and like everybody has different personalities when it comes to that. So there might be many dance parents out there that'll be like, well, if I schmooze with the studio owner, then my dancer will get front center in the lyrical dance, things like that, where some studio owners might
I'm
love
so glad I don't have
that attention
really.
Based on.
I don't. I'm so glad.
I mean, I've definitely have seen it. I know it happens. And then there might be other studio owners that are like, please do not schmooze with me. Like, I see right through you. You are annoying. Please, like, you know what I mean? And it's that fine line where I think, and even, I've felt that as a professional dancer, people schmoozing to the choreographers and then it leading to more 100%. Things. You know what I mean? So like, I'm sure dance parents also might think that's necessary or feel that pressure or see others doing it and then, they schmoozed, so I need to schmooze if I want my kid to be successful. And I don't, I just want to say that it might not always work in your favor, and it's also not necessary. And just do you, and don't worry about, that aspect of it.
Well,
it's a game. If you
want your kid to be front and center, sign them up for more ballet classes. Like that's the schmoozing you should do. Like
every kid that competes should spend time in the back.
Oh, yeah.
They should spend time in the third, fourth, fifth, whatever row. That is where they learn that it is not always about them.
Right.
Especially in a group dance.
Absolutely.
And that Paige had a year where it was a little tough to swallow. Mm-hmm. She had been put in a a teen group when she was young.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, she would come in and get in the car and go, I don't have any special parts, you know?
Right.
And I was like, yeah, I know. It's bad, right? It sucks, right? Oh, well.
Yeah.
Like,
that happens.
I said, guess what? You're 11 and there's seniors in that
Exactly.
dance,
It's an achievement in itself that you're in that dance.
Yes. I said, you can be in the back and you're doing your thing and you better shine like you were center stage.
Right.
Because that is how you add to the group. You are a bunch of people as one.
Mm-hmm.
It is not one person.
Right.
And I was like, and the people that get those special parts, they're picked because of a certain thing that they brought to that dance. The choreographer felt they needed to see. And I said, and it's not always about you. And that's one thing I think that my background has like really helped me with her. But I will say, you know, lately it has been, she's definitely had these days where she says, I just need you to be a mom and not my dancing mom.
Like a performer mom. Yeah.
Right. Because she gets a little pressed when she's not like on her best. She doesn't want to show me anything because she feels like she should be churning out like excellent material every single day. Right. And so I have to really be cognizant and just go, you looked great. You know, like it was great. Whereas inside I'm like, all right, well, there's a few things we could change. Yeah. I'd love to fix this, but that is not my place. And that's one thing I've really had to learn.
And that's hard because you do know if it's right or wrong.
Because you know.
Whereas most parents don't. Most parents don't know if it's right or wrong. They might see their kid get off stage deflated and the kids knows it wasn't their best. But the parents like, I don't know, it looked good to me. I thought it was fine.
So great. Yeah.
So we just had an interesting moment at our first competition of the season was last month. And Paige has two solos. She has a contemporary and she has a musical theater. And her musical theater, her choreographer, she's been with that choreographer for 5 years and she is classic jazz.
Love it.
Okay? And it's an incredible style that looks wonderful on Paige's body, but it is very difficult. Mm-hmm. And she has made this dance. She's like, you are an advanced dancer. And you're 13 years old. There's no reason why you cannot do these skills that I have put in this dance, you know? So her contemporary piece she connects to it really well because it's highly emotional, and that is Paige. So she goes out and she competes contemporary, and it's literally the best I've ever seen it. It's so good, right? Everybody's like, great, great, great. She comes out for musical theater and she falls off her leg in one turn, and then she just goes, I'm done. Yep. I'm done. You can see it in her face. Wow. You can see it in her body. She just goes,
like
she goes,
it's not
I'm
even
done.
Worth it. Yeah.
Yes. And her choreographer and I looked at each other and I was like, and she goes, she goes, let me deal. Let me do. She goes, you go out there. And I had to literally like scream in a pillow.
Yeah.
Like, because I was so mad. There's nothing I can't stand more when somebody gives up. Like, you slip and fall out of an aerial. You're not on your leg. Whatever. But you keep going. Yeah.
Wait, did she completely stop and like leave?
No,
or she just like checked out.
She was like fierce, fall off my leg.
Right. Done.
Robot. You know what I mean?
That's even worse than running off.
And so here's the thing. She won first with her contemporary. She won first overall. And then like her adjudication for musical theater was like low. She's not used to getting that sort of adjudication. And I looked at her and I said, you better be grateful you got that.
Right.
And then sometimes I feel my mom is like, oh, you're so hard on her. I'm like, I'm not hard on her. I just need her to understand you can't do that. I don't care if she falls or slips or whatever. But you keep performing like it is their gift, that you're like, you are giving them the gift of your performance. Like, you know,
it's hard for kids to kind of wrap their head around that when they are such perfectionists in their head, you know, and comparing themselves to others and then already knowing
feeling defeated from the beginning.
Like, I totally bombed that. Yeah.
Right. The first like 32 counts of the dance. Like you still have a minute left.
You
to
can
go.
redeem yourself, but it's hard to mentally get into that moment right away.
And I am so glad the judges scored her appropriately. Right. And they even said in the critiques, they were like, what happened to the dancer we saw an hour ago? Like, you know? And I am so grateful. So judges, if you guys are listening, continue to do that because these kids, they need to hear that.
Right.
They do.
It's a learning experience for them.
Especially kids that want to do this for a living. Like Paige wants to dance. Like that is her goal. She wants to dance on Broadway. She wants to dance. So she needs to hear the truth.
Right.
You know?
And that's a good, especially for her being so young. First of all, thank you for allowing her to have two contrasting genres on stage. So love that, first of all.
Well, I listened to the podcast and I listened to the podcast and I remember the episode where you guys were talking about like kids coming out and they're like a lyrical, contemporary,
open.
You know, or they're doing like jazz, musical theater, open. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, so I want them to be able, because she does she takes everything. So she is supposed to be a well-rounded dancer. Right. So she needs to display 100%. That.
Yeah, but it's great that she's getting challenged in that musical theater routine in a different way, in a different mindset, that she can go out there in her contemporary and just kind of like, and just live in that moment emotionally and technically, and then have to like switch gears and have that musical theater be the challenge this year. And like, it will progress and get better throughout the season. But I think that that's a great learning lesson for her to know not to check out, not to give up. Because let's put that into an example of if it was a group routine. Would you check out for your team? Like just because you're on stage by yourself doesn't mean that you're allowed to check out either. Like you still have to commit and perform all the way till the end, regardless of how that turn went, regardless if you fell on your face. I saw a dancer this weekend do a switch arabesque. Everybody knows like the Maddie Ziegler jump. Mm-hmm. She had the most elevation. It was absolutely beautiful. And then she face planted on her face. So like the foot that she was like going to land, it slipped.
It like slipped under.
She was so high and so low so fast. And I mean, all of us were like jolted, but that girl didn't miss a beat and she performed all the way till the end, and luckily her dance only had like 20 seconds left. Wow. And like at the end I was like, girl, you go cry it out right now. Like absolutely yes, you did that and I'm so proud of you. Like go cry it off stage, you deserve it, because that's the most scary feeling ever. And you don't know what's going to happen on stage.
Can I please tell you guys, last year at Nationals, there was a girl that was dancing and she was doing Don't Rain on My Parade. She was from a completely different studio and she ate it. She was doing something. She ate it. She fell. She got right back up and she kept going. And she was even more fierce than before. Yeah. Like she was just like, yes, this was the fuel I needed. Right. And she left and I went around there and she's crying. And I was like, can I please hug you? I'm a strange woman.
Right.
But I was like, I'm so proud of you. I was like, I'm so proud of you.
It's inspiring.
Because it is. I know professionals in this business who don't act like that. You know what I mean? So when I see a kid like rise to the challenge like that, I just go, wow. And then I try not to harp on it as a stage mom. I try not to say like, check this kid out, how good they were. Right. You know? Right. So I try to just be super chill. And that's why like this year with that solo, I'm trying to be super chill about it. I casually will say, how was rehearsal today? She was like, it's good. And then I go, okay, great. Mm-hmm. And then I text her choreographer later. I'm like, how did I go?
Give me the real scoop.
So you've just brought up something I was really hoping that we could get to, is sort of like a checklist of do's and do nots.
Ooh, yeah.
So do not overly press your child for information after rehearsal if you know that they're stressed.
Right.
Just ask a chill question and be fine with the answer. Like, what else can we, as a stage mom, what are some healthy stage mom things and not so healthy stage mom things?
Is competing and they're doing their solo. Say they get out there and maybe it's just not their best run. Just wasn't on their leg, just like Summer was talking about. Not on their leg, fell a turn, whatever. Making sure that the parent just don't even address it at that time. 99.9% of the time, the dancer knows. She knows exactly, he or she or they know exactly what they messed up. So we can go back to the studio and talk about that. And if there's a situation where maybe they weren't focused or maybe they weren't preparing themselves properly, we can come back to the studio and talk about that too. But the day and time of competition isn't the right time. And I think that's something to address too, is just in general. Competition day is such a stressful day to begin with. So the goal just has to be getting the kids on and off the stage successfully. And that's the goal. I mean, that's the goal.
Yes.
You know, so other things can't be addressed in the middle of all that. You know, even if their solo isn't the best, I'm so sorry that I feel bad. Hey, you know what? Push through. You can do it. It's okay. Next time. There's always next time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Move
and now
on,
it's
it's
done.
okay.
What are you going to do? You can't get all that information and then what? Nothing. Go home? Like,
that's exactly what I said, you know, to her. And Paige is, because she's a little like OCD about that. Like, she knew the minute she came off stage, it was like not her best, right? Yeah. But then she kept like going, well, how was it? How was it? How was it? And I finally was like, listen, do you want me to be honest with you? You know, do you want me to be honest? And she was like, yes. And I said, okay, it was not your best. I said, it was not your best. I said, but what can you do now? There's absolutely zero. What you have to do now is put on your next costume and continue on.
Yeah.
And go in your brain, this will not happen again. And we're competing this weekend. She's competing this weekend. And I think she is in a completely different headspace. I've not talked to her a lot about it because I don't want to make her nervous, but I'm pretty sure she's in a different mind space. I would say another part of your checklist.
Yeah.
Dance moms. This is to you, everyone. When your kid is old enough that you feel they can successfully navigate being at the studio by themselves, drop them off and come pick them up
and
later.
Say, see you later.
You don't need to hang out. This was something I learned as my child, as Paige was in dance. A lot can happen when you're just hanging out at the studio and none of it all good. Weird dance mom cliques can form and then resentments happen. Your kid gets used to seeing you standing there in the window or whatever, and they become like distracted or just when they're old enough that you know they can go in class, use the bathroom by themselves, whatever, just drop them off and go get a mani-pedi or a Starbucks or sit in your car. Sometimes I'll sit in my car if I know she's only going to be there for an hour or so. I'll sit in my car. Right. But it's like having the moms there, I know some moms will think my kid needs me, but much like Shannon was saying, if you give the kid the opportunity to rise to become more mature, to have that space, they absolutely will. And I think it adds a layer to them being self-sufficient. And then I think it also helps them in class because they'll take critiques a little bit better because they know that there's no one there watching them do what they just 100%. Did, you know?
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yes, I couldn't agree with that more. I don't think that there should be windows in classrooms. I think that we could do a camera situation in studios, and like we are in 2022, y'all. It is time to start using technology. If we are podcasting from multiple states right now, you can put a little tiny $10 Amazon Blink camera in your studio and the parents can watch from home if you really want to see what's going on in the space. But to have the distraction of a parent at the window is it's too much for the kids and it's pressure. We used to have that before
COVID and we ended up having the lobby shut. And now I'm kind of calling it's more of a dancer locker room because the kids are out there. So now I have enough space. I have a smaller studio, so we have space for the kids. They all have their own little area. Right. And then I do a live stream that's password they can watch on their phone from home if they want to. 9 times out of 10, they don't. But that's okay. It's there if they want to.
Right.
But it's there.
And
it's
so
an
I
option.
found that
Absolutely.
that's actually been the best change for the studios, especially for the kids. And even for myself teaching, you know, I'm trying to focus on them. I'm trying to make sure I'm, giving the right messages for my teaching, explaining things correctly, helping fix things, asking why the kid's crying in the bathroom, making sure I'm cleaning up someone's whatever. You know, there's just so much going on that it helps keep the focus on the one thing that's the most important, the kids, you know?
Right. Another thing I want to mention for the do not do checklist of a stage mom is to rehearse your dancer like you as a stage mom, a dance mom, rehearse your dancer. So you are not the professional. Again, you are not the professional. You are not the teacher. You are not the choreographer. You don't know what the dance is. You don't know how to give corrections. It's not your place. And while, yes, we want all of our dancers to practice at home, that's all you can say. Like that's, you can be the parent and say, did you do your homework?
Did you watch your dance
Did you practice
video?
your solo?
Did you watch your critiques? Did you listen?
Yeah. Did you watch your critique?
Of course.
Right. You can say those things, but you don't have to hover and you don't have to drill. And I've seen way too many times dance parents at competitions pressing play on their phone and running through their dance with their soloists. And it's like, that's not your moment. That's the teacher's moment to do. And it's also your dancer's responsibility. Like, yes, there are some dancers that are going to need that push to, you know, hey, you didn't practice yet. Do you want me to press play? But like, I've seen dance parents like,
but also like, if you're not old enough to practice your solo alone, do you need a solo? I mean, I'm with you on that. That's how I'm with you on that. Like, I feel like even if they're 9, 10,
I'm with you.
My 9 or 10, if they have a solo, they have to be old enough to practice and know and have their stuff, and I'll help them. But they can do it, or how are they going to get on stage to do it if they can't do it backstage? You know, so
yeah,
that's my thought.
100%.
I've definitely seen that before, and it really boils my blood a little bit because it's not the parent's place to be the rehearsal director.
I would just tell Paige when she was younger. Nowadays, I don't worry about it so much. But when she was younger, she had her first solo when she was 8. And I would give her the phone with the video on it. And I would say, go downstairs and just sort of run through it while you watched it. Yeah, I even just said, just you take it. You go downstairs because Paige does not want me watching her.
Go do your thing.
Like, that happens a lot.
Go study.
Yeah.
Study the corrections.
Yeah, but I've even seen like, and I'm sorry to call out all the parents right now, but like I've seen on some of the forums, like parents asking like, how can I help my dancer get their aerial? Or how can I help improve this for my dancer? Asking for dance training advice from a parent and then also asking that from other parents who don't know. And I'm like, okay, you're not helping your dancer by asking this. You're actually hurting them because none of these people are professionals that you're asking for advice. So leave it up to the people that you are paying the money for, which is your studio, your dance teachers. If you need to get extra training for flexibility or this or that, there are great services everywhere on the internet. But again, make sure you do the chain of command. Ask your studio, oh, what do you think about this program? Do you think that this move method looks great for enhancing my dancer's flexibility? The teacher will say yes or no, because you could be doing more harm than good when you think, oh, I found this on the internet. Well, it might be like disastrous.
Or I asked some other random dance mom. I mean, like, you're right. There's a ton of stuff out there, and it does clearly, and Summer, you can attest to this being a mom. It comes from a place of love. You just want to help your kid. Like, we get it. But like sort of just how, I mean, I always use the analogy of like math because I'm wretched at math.
Me too.
Listen, I don't know anything about it. I'm hiring a tutor. The minute I have a kid who needs to do more than addition and subtraction, here's a tutor because I don't know. I'm not even going to ask a question. I'm hiring a professional to do the job because I don't know. If you don't know the difference between, a tendu and a dégagé, hire a professional. You can't help your child. Like, I love you and I love your heart and I love your desire to do the best thing that there is to do. But the best thing there is to do is to trust the process, trust the professionals, and do your research, like you said, Courtney. And because there are professional, wonderful, remote programs out there for flexibility, for all kinds of training that are legit, that we've advertised on this podcast because we stand behind them. So they're out there. You just have to do the research and be willing to find them. Yeah.
Also, too, though, I think sometimes some dance parents have a hard time admitting to themselves, too, though, that their child may not have the natural facilities that other kids that they see on Instagram or whatever have. And Paige has many gifts, but a flexible back is not one of them. And
that's okay.
She just knows she has to work twice as hard if she wants to have that extra back flexibility that she has to put in the work all the time to retain it. No, she's a turner. That is her gift. She's also a natural performer, but her back, like a lot of the critique she always gets is put more of your back in your movements. You know what I mean? Really go through the body. And so that is something she has to, and I realize as a parent, she doesn't have that naturally. Right. Whereas some kids can touch their heads to their ankles. Like, it's like, this is what I do, guys, you know, and it's so amazing. But so it is hard. Sometimes I think dance parents might need to be a little bit more realistic about what their kids possess and really focus on the incredible things they're doing and really help lift up the things they're working
instead
on.
Of harping on what they can't, because a lot of it is anatomical, you know, and that's okay. Like, you know, there's some things that some people, just their bodies, it's not safe or they shouldn't be doing. But there's so many things on the other side that they can do. So we can focus on that part, you know.
And I will say to any dance parent that is like questioning more ballet or extra technique, please get it. Because my daughter does not have a natural turnout, but because she's been taking so much ballet, so much extra technique out, she has something now, you know?
Right. A usable amount. Yeah.
Yes. Any judge, any choreographer would look at her and go, this kid has had training. She
the main goal.
She has
also love that
to
comment.
This,
keep your ballet up. Keep doing it.
Yeah. I do want to throw in one thing before we wrap up. That's another like, do not do as a stage mom. And it kind of goes hand in hand with some of the other things that we've mentioned as far as trusting our teachers. But as a parent, sometimes, especially with what was just mentioned, social media and comparing your dancer to other dancers and what their skills are versus another dancer. But I just want to reiterate to all the dance parents out there that just because you see a dance that has a ton of tricks win doesn't mean that your dancer needs a ton of tricks to win. That it doesn't. I know you're probably like, but I don't understand. It won, so that's what my dancer needs. No, it doesn't. We need to be showing off your dancer's strengths, not what they can't do. And I think that the reason we see so many tricks on stage that dancers aren't ready for is the pressure from parents telling teachers they need an aerial, they need turns in second, or they're not going to succeed. And then the teachers feel like, as a business owner and to please their client, I need to put this in the solo for this daughter, even though I know as the professional, they're not ready for it. And I know as the professional, the judges are going to complain, but I'm going to please the customer. So again, like it's this vicious circle. So if you're wondering why your dancer is not scoring the way they are, take a step back and look at their dance. Did you, as a dance parent, pressure your teacher to put any skills in this dance that do not belong? That's the number one question that I want to ask, because I know it's happening. And that never happened growing up in my studio.
Well, because I'm sure Robin was not there.
Exactly.
Robin dropped you off and said, how was your dance?
Like they wouldn't even see it until it would hit the stage of competition or at the preview show. You know, there's nothing to talk about. There wasn't the option to record in rehearsal and replay it at home that night. You know, we didn't have that technology yet. So I think that, again, the dance parents just need to take a step back and trust the teachers. There should be no pressuring. Yeah. There should be none of that when it comes to scores and choreography and questioning choreography or skills, because that's happening way too much, y'all. I just want to let y'all know out there.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, when Paige was really little and we, you know, were on Instagram or whatever, I kind of fell prey to that for a hot second. You know, I saw these kids her age, 7 and 8, doing aerials.
Yeah, even as a teacher, it's like, oh gosh, am I doing enough? Is this good enough? Like, are my kids good enough? Like, what am I? And that's even on my side. Like, I'll look myself too and feel exactly the same way, you know?
And so I just basically was like, I went to, you know, to my studio owner and I was like, this is like, all these kids are doing, you know, do we need to like, do? And she's like, no.
Right.
Exactly. She's like, she'll get to it when she gets to it, you know? And I'm so grateful for that. You know, Paige, you know, there was a year where she didn't get moved up with all her friends.
So hard.
To the next level of her. And she got in that car and she sobbed and sobbed and sobbed. And even though it was hard for me as a parent to go, well, how dare you?
Right.
You know, my kid is amazing. I had to be honest with myself and say, she is not ready. She is not, her skills are not refined to go up to the next level. Maturity wise, she's
That's
not
a lot of it.
There.
Maturity.
And it was hard. And so I would like to say to other dance parents, if they have their child is not progressing the way you feel, talk with your studio owner, Don't go in there and go, why didn't she? Just go, I would just like some clarification. What are some of the things that we should be looking for?
What are we working
for her
on?
to
What's
make
the
that
goals?
next step? And how can I help her? But what can I do? Do I need to get her some more ballet privates? Do I need to, if you have an open dialogue, it goes back to that respect with your studio owner instead of being
absolutely,
I guess, defensive,
Totally.
Every parent is going to think your kid's the best, but you have to be realistic sometimes.
And no studio owner is sitting there, twiddling their thumbs and conniving about we're going to hold her back because she's it is all in the best interest of your child.
Yes,
and I think Shannon can attest to that of you're a family, your studio, especially you formed to create legacies. That is why your studio exists and that you care about these kids. It's definitely not just like an oversight that I didn't move Sally up.
Succeed, ultimately. You don't want, and that's what it boils down to, period,
and that is,
for me,
That's what happened because that next year she stayed in the group and, her friends had been moved up, but she learned she had to start working harder. So as she worked harder, she sort of
I was just going to say
became the leader of that group.
Hello,
and it gave her confidence. Then her confidence started to grow and her maturity level started to go up about I need to set a good example in this class for everyone else.
Right.
And she got moved up in the middle of the year. And so it was the best decision.
I've had to do that many times. And they always prove that they can do it. They always do. Because they do want it. But sometimes they just have to show, I can do this for this amount of time or whatever. And then show the teacher, okay, now I'm ready, And in my experience, I can say in my 7 years, I've not said, no, they're not ready. Any kid I've had on like a 4 or 5 month trial in that lower level, or sometimes I make them take both levels. So I'll have them taking the Monday middle school ballet jazz and the high school ballet jazz. So then they're doing both. And that's pushing them to be a leader on one side, then kind of have to catch up on the other side. Then usually by the next season, bam, they're ready.
Yeah.
And that's hard for some kids because that hits your ego. It's like, oh man, am I not good? Or like, what am I doing? You know? But in the long run, it's just like what Summer said. It makes the kids more confident. So.
Well, y'all, this has been a great chat.
Yes, it's been awesome.
We covered a lot
so
in
much.
this episode. It's been so good. And yes, thank you both, Shannon and Summer, for joining us on this How to Not Be a Stage Mom episode. I think we covered it. I definitely think we covered it. Yeah. Well, if you both wouldn't mind sharing one final tip out there for all of the possible stage moms, stage dads, dance parents, or whoever else is listening in podcast world, one final bit of advice for all of the stage parents out there.
Okay. I think it just goes back to the golden rule. Do unto others as you would want them to do unto you. Communication and trust between the studio owner and parent, and establishing that bridge, that foundation of it. And then from there, you can move forward with the right intentions for the dancer.
I think for me, it would be to trust your kid. Your kid knows the dance. Your kid knows what they're supposed to be doing. They don't want to hear from you all of the things they did wrong, all of the things that they should be doing. Just unconditional support and encouragement and no putting them up against like anyone else. It's just always tell your kid they are competing against themselves always. It has no matter how many other people are in that category. It could be 20 other kids. It could be over 100. But you are trying to beat yourself every time. It's what I tell Paige. I go, you shoot for that highest adjudication you can. Anything else is icing on the cake, is what I say to her. And 9 out of 10, that helps, Just be chill. I'm always still I try to take that advice myself. Just be chill. We pay so much money for our kids to do this. So it should be an enjoyable experience when we get to the competition. It should be fun. Yes. It should not be stressful, right? I don't want to pay over $600 for a weekend spent crying and screaming at each other. So just go, hey, what happens, happens. maybe we'll get some pizza later, like fingers crossed it goes your way. If it doesn't, we'll move forward. I try to be as chill as I can. I say, quote unquote.
We hope you enjoyed our final throwback episode of season 7, all about how to not be a stage mom. Special shout out to Summer and Shannon for joining us on this chat. Don't forget to follow them on Instagram. You can find Summer at Summer Bellies and Shannon at Legacy Dance 386.
Don't forget to follow Making the Impact on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Podcasts, and pretty much everywhere you listen to podcasts. And if you want more exclusive episodes, support our podcast by joining our Platinum Premium membership for only $5 a month. Join now at impactdanceadjudicators.com/platinum premium or click the link in our show notes. Making the Impact Season 7 concludes next week with scary stories from behind the table.
I can't believe our final episode of Season 7 is here next week. Stay tuned to listen, and we'll see you then.